Is he dripping?
I would not. There's multiple levels to drip, but
Wow. Okay. Clairvoyance on Twitter. Let me just say, Aries does not think
what the
you've
hell?
got the drip.
No, hang on. I think there's like, you could say one particular style is drippy. You could say another style is drippy. I think there's, you got your formal attire kind of, but I feel like if you're looking at drip, it's kind of the streetwear sort of vibe's not the right word, but the streetwear look. And he's got the formal look, so that's a different type of drip. You know what's drippy in this game? You want to know what's drippy? I think Xerxia have got this in the bag. I'm very convinced with their draft. I absolutely love it. I really do. In saying that, I do like this Pango pick. I think it helps a lot of the issues that Army Genius has had. Some AoE control over the Slark, gives you a way to initiate as well. But he too is a hero that doesn't particularly like being run at early on. When you have your items, you can be fine because people can run into a choke point, group up, and then all of a sudden you get a big ultimate out. But I think they're going to have a lot of issues here for Army Geniuses. This game is all on the back of the Ember Spirit. The Ember Spirit and the Mirana for making rotations. They need to have one hell of a game, I think, for Army Geniuses to take this series.
Narman's got to be careful about getting picked off. Anytime that you're going up against a Tusk lineup, this is the sort of thing that can happen. Although, 10-man!
Oh, look at this. Loser fight is in a little bit of trouble at the moment. They won't be able to catch up. Some spells traded back and forth, but no one dies. Give me kills, guys. I want a crazy game 3. We got an elimination series. I don't want no pissing around. Just a little bit of spells getting chucked out. Give me kills.
To battle.
They're always going to be a bit more conservative, though, when there's the risk of falling just short of TI, agonizingly short. I wonder how much this Flame Guard leveled up by Azura is going to influence the lane. Walking up into a Kunkka never feels good. I mean, you're only going to have that 3 armor, so his strong right-click damage is going to be super effective against you. No Sleight of Fist to be able to secure that first range creep. It's tiny things like this that can even influence the complete outcome of a game if you don't have Ember, like you said, that needs to be playing in a dominant way.
Lucky.
It does look like we're going to get 3 bounty routes for Xerxia. So, off to a nice start for themselves. Another game as well. We get to see the position 5 Gyrocopter. This time it's going to be with the Slark paired in the lane. We'll take a look, however, early on with how this mid matchup's going to shape up between Azura and the Conquer. You mentioned that this should be a pretty fine lane, right? Like Azura's got, being an Agi hero, you're going to have a decent amount of armor to be able to play in the Tidebringer.
It's going to be fine. I'm just a little worried about, maybe I'm just wrong, but the Flame Guard being not as effective as the Sleight of Fist would have been, but he was still able to secure 3 out of the 4 creeps in that lane, including the range creeps. So I feel like Azura is doing a good enough job. I say that as he takes 3 targets.
I saw that. I'm like, oh, that's not the greatest here. Just he's doing a very good job to be able to at least out-deny JG at the moment, considering that the Conquer will have a damage advantage as this lane goes on. Enough of that lane. Let's take a look at some of the side lanes. That's where the action is truly going to be. I feel like top lane, they'll need a couple of levels. Bottom lane, oh, just on the wrong side of the shards. Fariz almost goes down. What are you thinking about both side lanes? Is there one you feel like is more likely to get kills?
I would say there's probably going to be a little bit more action down towards the bottom side. It would have been top, actually, Narman. He's got the homing missile coming in onto him, but he's not quite level 2 yet on Teehee, so Narman should be just fine. The thing that I was really looking for was Narman hitting level 3 and getting that level 2 Holy Persuasion, but I just had a quick look through the Dire Jungle. 0 mana burn creeps, and that is exactly what you want against this Gyrocopter. That is purely how he's providing his position 5 harassment in the lane. So I don't, well, I was about to say I don't really like the fact that none have spawned, but just up to Gaben. I have no influence over that.
You maybe slide a 50 under the table.
It's true. Just a few more levels in the old battle pass.
That'll do the trick. I can be convinced from some extra levels in the battle pass.
Were you playing back in the day when they had stretch goals for the compendium, which it was called at the time, not even the battle pass?
Yes, I was. I don't remember when that was, but
I want to say it was like TI3, TI4, maybe even TI5 time.
That's when I just was getting introduced to it. So I vaguely remember the stretch goals.
So now the stretch goal is you get the right neutral creep spots in your game. You just get to choose them every single time. I think we should bring those back, don't you?
The stretch goals, yeah. I think it'll be a nice little addition. It gives us as a community something to work for. To put a dollar dues to. I'm looking for kills though. That's what I want. Again, I said it with the 10-man fight that we had at the start. We got no kills and thirsty for it. I'm just waiting for these levels to be picked up. DB?
DB's still level 2.
This is not a lane where they're going to be able to pressure Rapido at all. Like, this is a Mirana playing with the Morphling. This is a incredibly weak lane for Army Geniuses, which means Rapido is going to get off to a flying start.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what you want as the DP, right? I always talk about the level spikes on the Death Prophet. It's level 7, level 12, and then level 15. Rapido, he's in line to be able to get that super early level 7 off the back of this lane dominance.
I wonder
what... underestimating the old Spirit Siphon now these days. Do you think it needed the buff in 7.32B? I think it's... From how effective we've seen it be, I would much rather they lowered that effectiveness and made maybe the level 15 talent a bit stronger, just so it wasn't this super busted hero at the early stages. I'm
really not sure. I've obviously with a lot of changes that they're going to test it out time and time just to see how busted it truly is, but at first glance, yeah, they land the arrow. Xerxia play with the chains as well, but Conker already having double bracer means that JG just shrugs off the damage. He will have
get either water rune either.
At least it's nice to be able to take out of the hands of Xerxia.
That's what I was saying. Like, JG's going to be fine. He's got the braces, right, for the regen, but Xerxia, he's reliant on all of that, especially if you're going for a kill that doesn't work out. So both water runes going to the supports on Xerxia, that's a big win for them. Again, DB, bottom lane, completely out of regen. I'm sure he's saying, oi, Varese, get back here. You got a couple of tangos. That's what I need. And well, you can look to morph up into the Agi just for a couple of uses out of the magic stick, but it's not going to feel all that great until you pick up the Morbid Mask for yourself.
What's up next?
Yeah, I'm really not quite sure what they're going to be able to do with this bottom lane. Maybe we can see Xerxia try and rotate bottom, but I don't even think they get kills with the Ember rotation. Oh, actually, if Varese is down bottom potentially, like a chains into arrow under the tower, and with levels, DB will actually do a decent amount of damage, but this all comes down to the power rune timings, and well, we've got one up in the next 30 seconds, so both sides are going to need to start rotating.
Looks like Varese is going to be the first one to move, but it's going to be under the scope of vision, just trying to get some blocks up onto these camps. Not that, I mean, Kunka does a decent job of taking the early stacks, I suppose, but I feel like his main job is just looking to stay in this lane for as long as possible. He's very slightly behind Ember Spirit on experience, surprisingly enough, but he is still that lane dominator. And he's not a lucky boy, though. It's going to be bot where Illusion gets picked up by Loserfi.
It's pretty important, though, the fact that, like you said, he doesn't have the level 6. Lucky a fight didn't break out there, but if that was going to be the case, I mean, Conker wouldn't have had the boat to turn it around. But this creep wave now gives him the ultimate. We might see JJ. His job right now, his obligation is just you got to kill off the catapult wave, and then you can consider maybe going back, farming up the jungle, leaving mid to a support, or even starting to make a rotation. I think probably the best rotation for the Conker is down bottom as soon as Rapido has the Exo. Who might be in a bit of trouble. Yeah, top lane. In fact, it's going to be Ken that finds first blood. Beautifully done. Coming out of the Slark is able to get his first essence of the game.
I'm just thinking, like, you don't really want to be leaving this lane.
Ken can turn this on Wummy. He's got the pounce up shortly. He's going to be able to land it before the swashbuckle. Ken, he wants a high five. Lovely done. Gets a double kill. A couple of tips for good measure.
We all know that Ken is a fantastic laner, and he's even just being buffed up by the mangoes coming through from Teehee, level 7, so he's going to be able to back off. This is really early level 7 coming through from Kennen, the side lane actually. Only 7 minutes in. Of course, the downside means that Teehee is certainly lacking, not even level 3 yet. We'll get some D-wards off. There we go, level 3. It's actually a kill on this bottom side without the exorcism from Rapido. So just some good chain combinations coming through in the early point into the silence. I actually really like that silence point. I think if Kunkka's going to be able to make any kills happen, it's going to be on the back of that the 3-second window that you've got around that, just so that you're not just waveforming away or leaping away or remnanting away or swashbuckling away. You need that little bit of extra lockdown.
Again, Xerxia going to be able to find the invis. JG is going to try and chuck up the boat. He will not be able to continue to chase down Naaman. It gives him some run buff to play with for the moment. Beautiful slide dodge of the missile. So Azura, he can still stand toe-to-toe against the Kunkka. They'll get their first kill of the game, and they'll get their second as well. As Azura off to a pretty good start now. He's struggled with not being able to get any of the runes, but those 2 kills will well and truly pay off.
It's the supports that are putting Army Geniuses in even a decent spot so far this game, right? A lot of these rotations coming through. I mean, Xerxia was able to secure those first 2, the 4 and 6 minute power runes and water runes, so they're doing a great job as well, but this is what they truly needed. I mean, this is an Ember Spirit that is beating a Kunkka in lane, which is pretty damn rare in my eyes.
I wonder what Xerxia want to look to do now, because Wami did use Rolling Thunder top to escape Ken. So they know that this ultimate's on cooldown for a little bit. It can either free them up to gank the Pango, or they can think about ganking an other lane, knowing that the Pango is going to be a non-factor.
Oh, Rapido walked into it.
Connects. Oh, beautifully done. DB instantly will waveform forward to help out. Thanks to Varese's jump. What an arrow coming out from the Mirana.
That's the advantage of playing around in the nighttime, right? Going for these ganks at this period, but I mean, I feel like that was just a little bit of a missed opportunity to react to that. You had a Tusk who I'm pretty sure was pinging stuff out. You had an Observer Ward inside of your own triangle that saw the Mirana rotate in onto the backlines, but yeah, just that lack of vision meant that he didn't see the arrow coming from the trees.
Looks like
finally.
finally.
Luck out, though, on Naaman. They get the mana burn creep.
And also they'll lock out with the power rune as well, because this time they even bring Wami just to help secure it. It's going to be a double damage rune down bot. This is a big... Oh, he activates it instantly. Oh, okay.
It's going to be fine enough. I mean, you've got the siege creep wave coming, so I feel like the Army Geniuses supports want to stick around. They've got decent vision, so looking to try and manipulate the creep wave, get the creeps just passively hitting into the tower. Actually, Mirana moves away, so yeah, maybe it was just a misclick.
Still yet to see our first exorcism of the game as well. Rapido playing with Lucifer, just chilling down bottom. Varese is keeping tabs on this lane, but DB, he's stuck around for much longer than I was expecting he would be able to. I thought Xerxia would have been able to force DB out of the lane, but that kill prior and the Death Prophet just slowing down how aggressive they can look to play.
Kind of does feel like they want to go for this play to be able to use first Exo to take the bottom tower, right? Because I've been saying it all, Geniuses have ways to be able to get away from, unless you're getting the silence off and the boat and the X-Marks, to be able to get away from a lot of this early aggression. And now you're going to have Chen almost hitting into the level 6 as well. So even if he's not right there, you're going to be able to have that defensive component as well. So I feel like you've got to make a play now. You've got to open up some of that map to be able to play with, because you know that this timing is going to come where both teams are just wanting to run each other. They're both really aggressive lineups.
You do see finally they're starting to consider about top lane. Wami's been able to slowly dwindle down the Slark. Of course, he can get the regen, but just showcasing that the Pango can still be a threat onto Slark's life. So Naaman's going to rotate, try and offer some extra damage into the tower. Both sides are looking to smoke though. Down bottom, they'll connect first with a smoke on Radiant onto Rapido. Now with no one showing down bottom, it should be obvious that a play's occurring top as Wami gets a little bit of distance with the swashbuckle, but the Rolling Thunder will not come out. As Xerxia, they are perfect with the chain control, and now this will give them an opportunity to chase down Naaman, making sure the Chen will not escape.
Literally the exact same play happening on both sides of the map. The only difference is Xerxia able to get 2 on the back of it. Obviously, Pango, the much more important kill where they need to use more resources to be able to do so. But you just see how quickly Naaman drops down. Not quite yet level 6, doesn't have the mech, no escape mechanisms, and yeah, just means that he falls down pretty easily for the +1. Wami's
Top lane, they're going to try and defend this. Arrow connects onto JG. Wami with the Rolling Thunder follow-up. It's going to split the fight into half, so they can't protect the Conqueror. He gets the ultimate off, but it will not matter. As Army Geniuses bring the full squad to defend their tier 1 tower.
Power that last pick, Pango, man. Pretty good pick. Saw them ban out the Bloodseeker towards the end of that game. They were always wanting to go down this route just because it is that pretty good tool of being able to not only have the escape mechanism, but stop a lot of the push from afar. And then we saw just how effective the Rolling Thunder is without even taking into account the shield crash for this lineup that really does want to just ball together, right? So you're sometimes going to just have that 100% damage reduction on the Pango for the full 5 seconds.
And Wami's had a good start as well, so he can go into a Diffusal Blade. And it's a hell of a Diffusal Blade game. That's going to now enable him to scale, enable him to help clear off some of the creeps as well. We also do see down bottom that Repeater has popped his first Exo of the game, so finally this tier 1 tower is going to go down, opening up some map now for Xerxia.
There are so many good targets for this Diffusal Blade with the Swashbuckle, right? Basically only the Death Prophet feels like not amazing, but even then, gets rid of a lot of those Spirit Siphon potentials.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
All these strength heroes with, and even the Agi ones with low int gain, low max mana pool. It's not going to be quite so bad for Ken because he's going into the Aghanim Scepter for a lot of those additional stats early on, but certainly you cop a single Swashbuckle to the face as Lucifer on his Tusk or Teehee on his Gyrocopter, you're basically down to a third of your max mana.
And I really like the read coming up from Army Geniuses, knowing that the Exorcism has been used prior for the tier 1 tower bottom. They group up as 5, take the mid lane. This can now open up the map a little bit more, just an objective they can find. I don't think there's really, they're not going to look to maybe consider about Roshan, at least for the next 5 minutes, maybe even a little bit longer, but this will really help potentially for their invading into the jungle, because you have the Ember Mirana combo. We saw it down bottom, and the damage is going to continue racking up.
It is for sure. JG recognizing the rotation coming through as well, so he's going to be able to TP himself to relative safety. Has to be careful of where he's moving though, as he is starting to get pinged out by Army Geniuses, but they use the Moonlight Shadow underneath the outpost, so they have complete understanding of this movement that's going on here. A little bit of sloppy movement coming through from Naaman, and they're going to back off accordingly.
See, even though Army Geniuses
right next. Yeah.
Able to find the tier 1 towers, and you're getting farm across the map with the net worth lead, but I've got big issues with the fact that Ken is free farming. And then this is looking like a hell of a Slark game. If Ken, if he gets this good start, if he gets the items required, he can take over.
He can for sure. I mean, they've got a couple of things that are going to be able to go through the Shadow Dance, I suppose, which feels kind of nice, but it certainly does feel like you're going to be able to get to that point where suddenly all of these heroes with their great evasive spells aren't going to be quite as good. Ken, he is scouting out where exactly the vision is, and he's going to even just carry his own sentry ward, build up that big net worth even quicker.
Beautifully done though from Army Geniuses. They take first rush of the game. Wasn't expecting it to come out that early, but Naaman providing all that sustain they would require, and now they give the Aegis over to Azura, so he can look to get that much more aggressive.
The Skelly Boys certainly help. In the Bone Zone right now on Naaman. Really, obviously, every time you're up against a Tusk lineup and you're the ones to take the Roshan, you're feeling pretty happy with yourselves.
Seems like Xerxia is setting up to try and defend the tower. Like Lucifer dropping a lane ward. But he's going to be in trouble. Arrow's going to clip. He didn't cast a snowball. So a free kill for Varese to find. And they're going to consider about walking up higher ground here. Xerxia, they need a response.
Now the Bone Boys are still here. They're going to be able to buff up a lot of this early damage that they've got coming through. It's only 17 minutes. Crazy.
Ken. He just completed the center. They jump in, jump out.
Oh,
but with the Death Prophet, he got the arrow. Repeater face checks the arrow, and now with the Rolling Thunder, it'll cover the retreat, but in fact, they're considering about stepping back into the high ground. They've still got to respect Ken. Essence starting to stack up. They'll deal with the first life. Can they play around with the second life, though, Ken? Doesn't have the greatest resources.
I fear nothing.
They're still just going to continue committing onto this tower. Maybe backing off now that the Hand of God plus the mech was used. Could look to maybe get a pick off. Wait for the mechanism to be back on cooldown, but they think it's just a little bit of a bridge too far. But now it does mean that tier 2 towers, there's not going to be any glyphs for that. Feel much safer just pushing in onto the low ground to be able to fight into this. You've got the Skadi, sorry, not the Skadi, the Manta picked up on DB. Feels very nice at being able to get out of that silence that's still needed for a lot of that continuous control of Embrace.
Ember, he remnanted back to top. They see that JG's alone. Yeah, Azura's going to finally run into him. Oh, the Conquer is supposed to be tanking with the early game. Some of that eats just ability after ability and it's difficult to kill off, but Army Genius has proved that's not the case in a game like this.
Can I just say that Variz is playing like Legolas right now. Every single arrow is hitting. Like he got it bot for that kill onto the DP that probably shouldn't happen. He's gotten multiple arrows into that mid lane. He's landed a couple in these past 2 skirmishes as well.
Ooh.
He's having a fantastic time.
Alright, that's a big chorus snipe. Ken was able to get the Pangoli's Chorus, which had the Aghanim Shard on it.
Dire's top tower
Be able to stop the tower from going down though. Lift refreshed.
Radiant's middle
Be
tower is
playing a
under
little bit
attack.
conservatively, but not too much, knowing that the Conquer was dead
Radiant's
up
middle
until this
tower
point.
has
So
fallen.
it's actually Army Geniuses putting themselves into a pretty good spot. 19 minutes into the game. Ares prediction in shambles right now.
Oh, this is where it turns around. Smoke from Xerxia, but look at Radiant's control. They've got a great Observer Ward. Armin's in
They know
a decent
DB's not
position.
there.
Ken, he's got the nighttime vision as well. He's going to be able to scout out the Chen. An easy kill, nothing crazy, but just stacking up the essence, and this will give them an opportunity now to recontrol their jungle.
Very important. I mean, even just as a TP point, right? Like, you're going to look to get some D-wards off at the moment. Xerxia just placing down some of these sentries. You've got the D-ward off from the Slark once more. So it really feels like the only time that these observer wards can go down are right before team fights, because Slark is always going to be able to D-ward them if it's just on the field of battle. I really do like the fact that you've also got a 4-staff on Mirana, so makes up for one of the weaknesses
Loser
that
fight,
you've got
jump
on
in.
Nama's Chen.
Onto the Ember, but Slark, he ate the arrow, so Ken wasn't able to follow up. He still gets the pounce over the cliff line. He's going to have another round of the pounce as well. Do they have enough members nearby to be able to protect the Ember Spirit? But the Rolling Thunder's going to fly on 4, but Xerxia, they'll sidestep this instead. Wommy, it turns back to Ken. But a Dark Pack's going to buy in some time, so Ken will escape, but the Ember Spirit, he still goes down, and now they can turn it around. It's off to the left side. They'll catch up to the Chen. They'll also run into the Pangolier. Xerxia, I mean, very similar to last game. They were down and almost out of their count. This game, they went high ground in Army Geniuses. They were looking strong. They were looking like they're in the lead. But Xerxia, one fight, and they are back in this.
Ares prediction god coming through here with being able to bring them back into this. They're going for another. They're trying to catch DB on the retreat here with the Haste Rune coming through from Ken. It's very scary to go up into this Slark.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
He just wants to be spamming out his abilities, even just holding on to 3 mangoes as well. It was the X mark that won in that fight. Just being able to land it onto the Ember Spirit. It was a great 4-staff coming through from Variz as well, being able to interrupt the strength of the Pounce coming through. What I was saying before that fight started as well is it provides Naaman with a little bit more security too. Again, you're a Chen, you're very immobile, but if you're able to just get him away from this arrow combination, then you've done a great job. He's getting closer and closer towards that Wraith Pack too. Already finished up the Vlad, so in terms of what it means for the damage that you're able to output at Army Geniuses, it's just spiked up a good amount. I mean, 18% extra damage in an aura is real significant.
I think they're still in a position for Army Geniuses where they can look to fight. Like, this Rolling Thunder is going to be that big ultimate through team fights. The AoE control, that Dire. They kind of have with the Conquer. A little bit more difficult for them to find the connection. Some of the...
Do you think this is the game for the Aghanim Scepter on the Pango where they actually go the level 15 talent? I think it's kind of nuts, this game. Like, you need the consistent mana burn. You need the stun. You need the way to deal a lot of damage
Radiant's
inside of the
top
Shadow
tower
Dance,
is
for
under
example.
attack.
And even just not being a Spirit Siphon target for the Death Prophet and still being able to do damage. I think this is the game for it.
So maybe this team fight, if they're able to succeed and get that gold, it could get him closer to the item. Army Geniuses.
Place down the ward. They
Smoke
will.
the Moonlight.
This movement, scout it out.
Now Xerxia, they can play accordingly. They're going to back off of the group, place the ward on the cliff. So Teehee in a great spot to be able to pop this. Do they stick around though from Dire?
I think it'd be suicide to stick around. Like, you know you don't have vision. You know they're there. They just recently placed down an observer wall, which might just get removed by Varese instantly. And yeah, that's immediately where he looks to patrol towards, especially around this Roche time that has the potential of coming up within a minute. So they fought so hard for that outpost control, but they've just lost the entire vision off the top side of the map. So at least with Xerxia, they respond accordingly. They all move down to the bottom side of the map, realizing that, okay, well, I think their axe isn't going to fall down just yet, and there's not potential for Roshan quite yet. So let's just try and force them to come down here away from the objectives that are actually important in the grand scheme of this game.
Another smoke from Army Geniuses, but Teehee, great position for the Gyrocopter. Pops the smoke, and he'll be able to get out. And it looks like Gyro, he might get out as well. Oh, Teehee, beautifully done. All right, that's two smokes now back-to-back that Army Geniuses get nothing out of. They might get the kill on the Conquer. He's going to be forced to BKB TP out, it looks like. And yep, JG will do that.
It's the power of the mutton chops, man. Just gives him all that extra little bit that he needs. Haste Rune bottom. Going to be picked up by Azura, so it gives Ember a huge power spike for this next little bit.
Oh, they
also got the Arcane Rune running.
Xerxia double smoked. Oh,
Uh-oh.
no. Yeah, I hate to see it.
They're at a premium. Pretty quick Roche respawn, only 20 seconds away, so any
Even
kind of
better
pickoff that
positioning.
gets found out.
Smoke's not
of
gonna
buybacks,
pop
though.
and they get the jump in, but Azura, instant use of the BKB, and now they'll turn it around. They'll kill off Lucifer. They know JGB has no BKB. He's got the run buff at least to play spit. They're going to charge on forward. Rapido charges up the X with the leap in forward as well. They should
Nice
be able to
force.
pop the Ember, the X back. They'll get him. They'll kill off Azura, but they need to stay grouped together on Xerxia, targeting down Wombi for the moment. A swashbuckle out to the left side, but Ken, he says, come back here. You're not getting anywhere. Xerxia, they're now on the Marana as well. 4 members right from the face of the earth, and now Xerxia can go back to the pit.
That double smoke just gave them the extra power that they needed to be able to take that one out. Still forces a buyback out of the Tusk, but I mean, well worth it considering this Roshan's come up. You're going to be even able to have the Depth Shroud available for the Slark, just to continue committing super deep into these team fights, because you see what happens when he's able to.
They have to all commit for this. They do not take Roche fast. Hit Roshan!
I think it'll be fast enough. I mean,
Azura's got BKB back. He's going to go for this. He'll get the vision. They're going to wait for him in. Ken gets the Aegis. And they're going to stand their ground in man fight, though. JG with a BKB TP out. They've got nowhere to cancel it. And the rest of Xerxia, they too will make it out. Unfortunately, Teehee. Oh, well, they're not going to go for the gyro. Great success.
Yeah, easy escape. No cares in the world. I was trying to think of a PG word to use there, where they just back off entirely. Important thing is, though, Wraith Pact is up on the Chen, so that's going to provide a whole lot more survivability for them. You're even getting into the Lotus Orb soon-ish for Varese on his Mirana. It's going to make him feel a lot more survivable. I mean, he's just copping more than half of his HP and damage just from cleaves coming through from the Tidebringer every single fight. They've even gone into the AC as well.
He's onto the Ember. Double pounces out. The rest of the team's soon to connect, but they're lacking detection. Oh, the Repeater was waiting on his run, though.
They were waiting.
They know the BKB's on cooldown as well. Azura's in a little bit of trouble. The follow-up's not going to be there at the moment. Can they secure with a kill still? But off to the left side, Wombi with the Rolling Thunder. It'll buy them some time to retreat, but they still get Azura. And now Ken, he pounces on the high ground. This is looking very reminiscent of Game 2.
Yeah, it is indeed. He was going for being able to slide a fist onto one of these neutral creeps just to be able to dodge out that Buster Rocket at the end of it. But they'd been claimed recently. They only just respawned now, so going for these big plays, going to try and evade a lot of this big push coming through, but
Are fortified.
just feels such an awkward position to be in.
Oh, not the banner on the tier 3 tower.
Planting the flag, man. They're saying this is our territory.
Look at them. No way, Xerxia. You gotta hang on, lads. This is... I don't know, you're only up 4,000 gold. Dive on a tier 4 tower like that. You gotta be cautious.
Radiant's middle barracks is falling.
Really quick with them backing off. Do you know where the Ag Shard went as well? I think DB snagged it. but
I want to
I'm
say
not
yes.
certain. Okay.
Yeah, I want to say that he did, because I just did a quick look through of all of the Xerxia heroes beforehand, and I was like, surely they didn't give it to the Gyrocopter when you've got a DP or a Slark. Or even a Longboy.
Oh, not the long boy. Morphling's even got the Scepter to play with as well, so... Who is he looking to prioritize in regards to his replicate? Okay. Okay.
I mean, if you've got an Ags, man, you just want that double pounce, right? You want an ability to be a lot more aggressive yourself.
Army Geniuses moving out the base. They got the Moonlight Shadow. It's soon to expire. They have a very good cliff ward. It's kind of the north of the map, but Xerxia, they are not home. Recognizing that AG are pushing up aggressively, so they're going to back up to the tier 2 tower. Lucifer gets a jump.
Blink Dagger on.
The force to
Oh, he gets
BKB early
pounced.
on. Ken's going to be able to fall up as well, forcing out another Rolling Thunder at the start of the fight. This is a big victory for Xerxia, because now they can charge on forward, recognizing a lot was expended. He's in trouble for the moment. They'll be able to deal with the Gyrocopter, but they need to address the Slark as Ken is onto the Morphling, starting to stack up the Essence. He'll be able to get some distance thanks to the 4-star, but DB's still in trouble. A pounce after safety, they got the X. They can drag DB back, another pounce, and he's okay. The mobility for the Morphling will enable him to escape, but the rest of Army Geniuses, they might not have the same fate. Narman will be chased down. Ken's onto Varese next as well. A double leap back to the high
There's
ground.
a lot of stacks.
Look at Ken go, man. He's stolen so many stacks. Nothing to fear on the Slark.
Radiant's middle barracks.
It's just the Aegis, it's fine.
Oh, he loses his essence though, so it is going to slow down the push a little bit. They should be able to get at least the full set. I guess there's tier 2's top and bottom as well, so they wouldn't be able to get a second full set of barracks. Oh, some tips. What's going on here?
Hate for Varese coming out here. I don't know about that.
It's a lot of damage.
It's a lot of death timer as well. Maybe now they're thinking, okay, well, we weren't super keen on committing super heavily because obviously the Tusk able to get there for the save.
Peters isolated.
Bottom tower.
BKB's
low
slow
on the
cooldown
matter
as
as
well
well.
for the Death Prophet. Yeah, they're going to get another kill. They don't have the outpost to be able to TP into repeat. That's an ambitious TP out, and Army Geniuses, they'll kill off 2 stragglers.
Yeah, and they can just look to push on forward immediately. The line's being drawn down mid. You've got the Manta Illusions from the Morphling to be able to push down this wave. I think Wami's got to get there ASAP. He's super close to being able to pick up that Basher for himself, which again is going to be really effective at just stopping a lot of the aggression coming through from Ken. And that's the main issue. You've got to make sure that Ken is being controlled. With the Rolling Thunder duration, man,
I
I'm the
understand
biggest
it.
fan.
I get it. I think they
I'd
have
like to, but-
control issues, and I think that's where the Rolling Thunder helps out.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying too,
Yeah,
right?
I know. I 100% agree. And I thought he was actually going to this game. JG, you're going to have to pop a BKB TP out,
Bash.
and he bashes. Oh, he got it! No way! Wami, all he needed was just to use the roll-up. That secured 100% guaranteed bash. They'll chase down JG. It'll take him a little bit of time, but they'll get some voice lines out in the meantime as well. For a second, I'm like...
It's no sleight of fist basher into an Enigma black hole,
No,
but
it's not.
it still feels pretty good.
For a second, I'm like, what's wrong with me doing? You're like going for this roll up? You need to be right-clicking. But I understand now. I didn't know it was a secret thing hidden to the code of the pain clear. You use the roll up, you right-click afterwards, guaranteed bash.
That's why he's master tier. Is he master? No, platinum tier. Gotta grind a little bit more, Wami. Making me look like a fool.
This is a pretty big item for Ken. He's got Lincoln's now completed. This will address the Morphling Scepter. I mean, you mentioned, as soon as I was bringing up the question, you said it before I even finished. You recognize that Morphling, he needs to replicate into the Slark. And, well, now the fact that he has the Lincolns, it's pretty much solely for the Morph this game. Like, there is nothing else that he's worried about single target-wise.
Yeah, I mean, what even else is there? There's the Penitence, and that's about it, right? And if Chen is getting close enough to the Slark, Chen's probably dead. So it's not feeling super great. Look at what Narman's got as his neutral item, by the way. Just providing a little bit of that zoning. Oh, I just said back the Ogre Seal Totem. Surely you want that. I think he needs it, man. You need to be able to get away from a lot of this early aggression.
Gonna show in the lane. Lucifer jumps. Ken's got the fob. All they want to do is just try and force some abilities and steal some essence and look at the retreat. Force out to the right side, a double force as well. This is perfect from Xerxia. They still need a way to be able to protect Rapido, and they don't have everything. They already used their defensive toolkit to get Lucifer out.
Really like that as well. I mean, it shows what exactly you need to do. Morphling was very keen to make sure he wasn't getting in super close range so that you get the Spirit Siphon off. He stayed far enough away, he's got the Dragon Lance, and the only one that committed onto that was Wami in the Rolling Thunder. So it means no Spirit Siphon, no survivability, didn't want to have the BKB available. With this, they might actually get a lane of racks of their own.
Please drop a banner. Please drop a banner, Army Geniuses. Come on.
And Veriz needs to tip someone. 3 people, actually.
You can... What that thought, because... Waveform in.
Oh,
Lucifer.
quick pick off.
Another double force. They don't get the kill, though. This is what Ken wants. A messy fight where he can start to get the essence.
He's in the Slark morph form as well. Diffusal Blade nearly into the arrow as well. And Legolas message sometimes.
You have Rapido back up. So with the Death Prophet spawning, Army Geniuses, they will retreat.
I feel so much less confident when they don't have that Wraith Pact available. It's still a crazy amount of reduced damage output when you consider that they have a decent amount of saves coming through, right? BKBs, 4 staffs, Hand of God, mech. They just need to make sure that they don't get 100 to 0 by anyone.
This is... Who do you feel like Conker's going to be prioritizing with this Hex? Is it I guess the Morphling and the Ember they feel like they have instant control issues on?
I mean, you'd have to say it's Ember, right? He doesn't have Lincolns, he doesn't have BKB. He's wanting to commit quite heavily into fights pretty often.
They see DB waveform in the lane. If JJ can get that Hex off, simultaneously down to the right side, though, but the Rolling Thunder's out. There's not going to be follow-up. Inside the river, though, they're falling low to the north, though. DB, he's in trouble. A waveform, going to be able to reposition. Ken, though, pounces over the cliff line. The Slark lands a stun. They've got the torrent! JG! What a torrent! Onto 3, and Xerxia instantly swamped to Army Genius's location. You couldn't have done it any better.
Oh boy, hasta luego indeed. Goodbye is what they're saying right now over to Army Geniuses. I was thinking, Lucifer, you are absolutely insane wanting to go in that deep. But he was just blocking them off entirely.
He's going to be in some trouble as well. Ken's got the full control out of the pounce. He doesn't have a buyback. Ken gives him a tip as well before he dies.
They've got that bottom lane available. No one really wants to be expending the buyback, and even when Mirana and Chen come back online, they can't stop this sort of push. Still holding on to plenty of those Essence Shift stacks. 216 agility over on Ken right now. Like an absolute truck.
They're pinging T4 towers.
Oh, they should know that Roche is about to respawn, though. They might be able to just get this tier 2 tower, go straight into the Roche pit. That's what's getting pinged out right now. Get what you can for free. And what is it? Refresher. Yeah, okay. Give it to the DP.
Look at Lucifer's position. They're ready for this, though. Plus drops a lane. A ward in the lane, hiding in the trees. So as soon as the smoke pops, he'll be able to get the blink out and give them that read. Radiant have very good vision as well inside Dire's jungle, but instantly that's taken away.
Find the pickoff. They didn't get a chance to be able to go into Roche. They've got this understanding that the vision is right outside of the pit. Just using the Manta Illusion, but they've got to make a play now because that mid lane's pushing in. It's going to be obvious. Oh, Arrow doesn't quite connect onto Losify, but they now know the direction that they're going to be engaging from. Great couple of Sentry Wards catching them out here as... He's fine, I think.
Fights for Xerxia can't change even though they are this far ahead. You need to kite the Rolling Thunder, and the Slark needs to get in and get out. You're trying to stack up as much essence as possible without heavily committing. And for Radiant, you gotta get kills through BKB and Rolling Thunder. If you don't, fights are gonna look very difficult.
I still think DP needs to get burst down. Rapido, his positioning is so important, so the fact that he's been able to pick up a Heaven's Halberd, it's a really good sign for Xerxia. Even just the passive evasion that it's going to provide for you. No MKBs or any kind of true strike coming through outside of the Pango swashbuckle so far. Azura, his item progression is certainly stagnated. I saw him, I swear, about 5 or 6 minutes ago with the Aghanim Shard queued up, and he is still a little bit of gold short for it. This game of cat and mouse. Narman just
GG.
hiding in the trees.
GG, they're going to catch up the Conquer. Look at the damage that comes out. He's got the BKB, the run buff to play with as well. Xerxia, they need to try and protect it, but the Bash is Wommy. Will make sure they can stop the Conquer's TP. They'll secure the kill, and now they're going to look for more. But you got to respect the Slark along with the Death Prophet, because Xerxia, they want to hit back. They're charging forward, but Army Geniuses with the executive call. They'll retreat, reevaluate how they can take this team fight.
Radiant's middle tower.
They just got to back off entirely. Do not go close to this high ground. There's no respect.
They missed the pounce. A force sub out to the left. They're going to try and steal Morphling. He's stuck inside the middle. He's in trouble for the moment. Gets away from out to the left side. He's going to be okay. Can play with the pounce to reposition, but you've isolated the Morphling, so the rest of the team, they're in trouble. A Slark can charge on forward, meanwhile to the left side, they're on the Morph. They still find him. DP pouncing the tree line, he's gonna be okay. But Slark, they haven't addressed him for the moment. Changes out into the stun. He's in trouble without no one playing behind him.
The Chen kills him.
They get rid of Ken, no way, and now they can catch up to Teehee. It's the Morphling. Just made so much space, DV. All the time in the world. Xerxia were trying to kill off the Morphling. Ken was on his own little island, and now Army Geniuses, they can get Roche.
You see how much easier life is for DB, though, as soon as the Kunker's dead, right? No Scythe of Vice, no X marks, and it means that if you're able to steal that Slark, the Morph, then you feel immortal. He was able to get away by playing off the back of that. He's just putting his life on the line right now.
Look at Wommy's
This is a great spot. Look at that choke point.
Team fight from Wommy, just bouncing back and forth off any wall that he would ever want. And back inside the pit. DB, he's claimed everything. Army Geniuses, it feels like they're the ones in the lead now. They've got a win condition. Slark ball back. If you kill him again, this game might be over.
And they just used the BKB as well on the Death Prophet. So I wonder if they want to back off entirely. I wonder if they just want to immediately go again. I suppose they are still playing so heavily on the back of the Rolling Thunder coming through from the Pangolier there. Wommy's been playing a really good game, at least in terms of the team fights. Was falling off a little bit in terms of his farming potential and the net worth, but he's certainly been able to recover that. And he's a solid damage dealer in his own right as well. I feel like they might be trying to catch out Ken when he goes for one of these super deep dives. You've got the Penta Edge Sword on the Pango. You've got that plus 30 swashbuckle damage. He is actually dealing a fair amount right now.
Do we feel like Army Geniuses forced the issue? You know, Slark brought back. You know, multiple other heroes brought back as well. You have this Aegis advantage. Do you consider about taking tier 2 down bottom and going high ground?
Do you need to wait for anything on the Ember Spirit before you make the play? That's my big question. Because he's the one that has the Refresher Shard. It's actually got a Timeless Relic as well. Yeah, I think he's pretty ready, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's well and truly ready. This is kind of full capacity. Those next other items afterwards are just maybe helping out with some survivability. But this is all he needs now in regards to damage.
This can just buy the Lotus Orb as well. He should have enough for buyback, even if he doesn't. Maybe he just wants to secure the tower first before fully committing. It's going to give him a whole lot more survivability, not just for himself, but for the rest of the team.
DB just completed a butterfly as well, so good luck for the Slark being able to address the evasion now. And we've seen time and time again throughout these fights, Slark has been trying to deal with the Morphling. Wrap around, that's the call.
Oh, another smoke coming through. They preemptively
the
dropped down
read.
that Wraith Pact.
Look at this, the Pangleer, instant into the roll-up. Look at the first one onto Ken. The bounce back's not there, the Slark. He should be okay for the moment. The pounce is still on cooldown. Another couple of seconds, Ken. Oh, under the cover of the Depth Shroud, he's out. And now they know that the Rolling Thunder's on cooldown. So this can give a window of opportunity for Xerxia just to target down the Ember. They'll blow him up. He's going to buy back an instant to run the back into the Hex
again.
They might be able to bring him down and die back for the Ember Spirit.
Oh my god.
Oh no. This is up to DB now. DB's got to turn this completely around for the Slark. He too dies. And now with the Morphling can turn to Rapido up to the northern side. There's no escape. It's DB against the world. As he looks like he can come out on top. Death Prophet's got to buy back. He'll rejoin. On the other side of the map, Lucify solo kills Varese.
They were nearly able to get that bash through from the Swashbuckler as well. Buybacks galore coming out. Only two heroes left in this game with it, Pango and the Tusk. And well, I really like the decision from Xerxia to go back in onto that when the Rolling Thunder expires. You know the control is severely lacking and not a single use out of that BKB on the Ember Spirit. The chain lockdown was perfect coming out from Xerxia, but still wasn't enough. As soon as Slark falls down, you are just far too lacking in damage. And they know this on Army Geniuses. They're willing to full-on commit with both Varese and Narman buying back. Slow down the siege as much as possible. I really don't feel like they can commit.
Oh.
Maybe they can if they get a Hex like that.
But look at the Rolling Thunder from
forward.
Wummy. Beautifully done. Is going to try and disrupt the backline. DB still in trouble for the moment, but the Snowball's going to buy him enough time. DB doesn't get the attribute shift off. They've killed off the first life. How do you set up though for round two? They'll make the attempt, but the instant waveform, DB's okay.
Wummy? It's a bit low.
They might get Narman as well. Look at the damage coming out.
Remember, they bought back to this.
From Teehee. They get rid of Chen. DB still a force to be reckoned with on the Morphling, but Slark is up in 25 seconds. Army Geniuses, you need to get out now.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
They get away without losing the racks. That's huge.
No way.
What a great defense from Xerxia.
Holy crap. Game 3, elimination series. We are 45 minutes in, and it's only a 4,000 net worth lead. The probability is so goddamn close. 52% for Xerxia. What a game we have in store for us.
So what's next? That's the big question. Like, can you wait to get this level 25 on DB? I feel like they're not going to give you the opportunity on Xerxia. They're just saying, like, look, dieback timer expended. Slark, he's going to have the buyback in